I'm in a cycle of battle between my spirit and flesh, and so I starve that, knowing Yahweh is my rest. The door is open and you letting in these lust demons. I'm in the scripts, not in clubs, throwing crusty ones. And so I'm traveling these verses, vacations on the chapters. I read up on the curses, not anxious by my captors. Find solace in the psalm for the storm after the calm. John 8:32, I'm trying to show you what I'm on. And I'm flattered that you think I'm skilled talking about the flat earth. But in reality that doesn't matter, check the message. I got a brother hitting me with scriptures he in Texas. Told him that I'm going through it, he said that I'm being tested. Sent Daniel 12 verse 10, I'm getting refined. I can't explain it any other way, I say it in rhymes. These demons test the righteous, entities to entice us. Flesh against the spirit, Hasatan trying to fight us. But we have gotten armor, I'll be with Christ. For what shall it profit if your soul got a price? Just know you gotta pay, so don't be out of place. Don't play it all with Book of Life and hope you're not erased. It's not that playing around, 'cause Most High really bringing down judgment on us. Really bringing down that judgment for that lust. Now feel me? You hear that? They waging war on us spiritually, physically, mentally, economically, socially. All types of elite. All praise to the Most High. Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach. That would offer all these blessings. That would offer all my Achiam out there. Really laying out the law, putting in the works, all kinds of different ways. I'll sing to Him in praise. Not one day goes by without Him. Not one day goes by without hymns, songs and praise to the Most High, always, today, forever. For His ever-loving commitment to us, His mercy to us. So with that I say, kill the drums, let the melody jingle away. All praise to the Most High, you already know. We give praise like Job, in the good, the bad, the ugly. You don't have to, but He loved me. Yahweh Basha, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, Yahweh die.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Took a second there for it to pull up the screens real quick. So today the lesson's going to be titled Being a Wise Steward and Wife, and How Much Oil is in Your Lamp. Right, so we're going to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, as always. Right. So we're going to start in Matthew 25. I'm going to start Matthew 25, and we're going to go 1 through 13. 1 through 13. So this is the parable that many of y'all are probably familiar with. It's the parable of the 10 virgins, right? Which is speaking about the church, right? Ivan, shalom, shalom. I hope you had a blessed day. So this is talking about the church.
I'm almost there. I'm on verse 8 real quick.
You're good. So basically what it's talking about is that there's 5 wives that were foolish, right? And there's 5 that were wise, right? So we're going to talk about being a wise wife, which we know the church of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is known as the wife, and Yahushua is known as the bridegroom, right? So when he comes back, just like a husband, when you get married, right, you take the wife with you to your home. The same thing with Yahushua. When Yahushua comes, Most High willing, we're a part of that number. We get taken with him to the Holy Land, to the kingdom, when the kingdom is here on the earth. So we're going to start in Matthew 25:1.
This is Matthew chapter 25. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom.
So it's comparing or making the parable or the comparison. It says the kingdom of heaven is likened unto 10 virgins, right? So the people, the Most High's elect, the 1/3, and those that are following him in sincerity and are going to make it to the kingdom, they are known as the kingdom of heaven, right? So it's saying they're likened unto 10 virgins which took their lamps. So now I actually got a lamp here that we got a long time ago, right? This is can you see that out?
Con.
So this is just the top, but I want y'all to, let me just point out something real quick, right? So this is an old school lamp. It's got oil in it and it's got a wick, right? And actually I'll point it out as we keep going through the verses. Go ahead.
And 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish.
So 5 wise wives and 5 foolish or virgins, Salakia.
They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them.
So the foolish ones took no oil in their lamps. If you see this, right, there's oil about up to here. That is what keeps the lamp going. I don't have a lighter on me, or I'd light it for y'all, but this is the wick, right? You can light the wick, but if it doesn't have oil on it, it's either going to burn up the wick, depending on how much is still on there, or it's just going to keep turning off, right? So some of them were foolish and they took no oil in their lamps, right here, right? You can light this lamp, but it will not stay on unless you have oil. So you have to be a very foolish person. Say back in the days when they didn't have electricity, right? You would be a very foolish person to take your lamp outside and light it in the dark and you not have any oil in it.
But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept.
So, well, let's keep going.
And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps.
So all the virgins rose and trimmed their lamps. So right here at the tip of it, hopefully you can see that. You see how it's burned, Doc? Okay, so it's burned and you got to keep trimming it or it won't stay lit because the top of it is burned, right? So that's what trimming your lamp, when you trim it, and it enables you to light it again, right? So they trimmed their lamps.
But the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out.
So now the bridegroom, like I said, represents Yahushai, right? So when he's outside, when he's basically knocking at the door, right, which we see all these things that are coming to pass, that it's getting closer and closer. Now no man knows the day or hour, but we measure how close it is to him coming back by what? By watching and seeing all the prophecies that are coming to pass, right? As we see, we're moving to a one world government, as we're moving to the different marks of the beast, right? As we see all of these prophecies happening, the new desolation of abomination, right? As we see all these things coming to pass, we know that he's getting closer and closer. And as these things are coming, we have to understand that there's going to be people in that day when he comes, when Jacob's trouble is really popping off and all these things are happening, right? That are going to go to the wise, the ones that are preparing, who are prepared, and they're going to want some of our oil, right? They're gonna say our lamps have gone out. As a matter of fact, if you could get Proverbs 20 and 27,
Con.
so now, like we say all the time, you can look at it physically and you can look at it spiritually. Okay, so spiritually, what would you think that oil is, Ak?
So, like, repeat your question.
So spiritually, what to you does that oil represent?
Staying in the spirit, being in the scriptures, having that wisdom, that knowledge, that understanding, that discernment of the times, of things that are to come, and being prepared.
Khan, exactly right. So that oil is everything he just said: knowledge, wisdom, understanding. It's the word, and not only being in the scriptures, because like he said, preparing with them, right? So, for example, when you try to tell somebody, you try to correct somebody right now, and they don't want the correction, or they get mad at the correction, right? Or you tell them the Most High wants us to be living like this or like that, and they don't want it. But in this day, when they see all hell breaking loose, I guarantee you that they're going to want to start getting on the Most High's good side, right? And then at that time, there's going to be many people trying to get that oil in their lamps, right?
Con. This is Proverbs 20 and 27. The spirit of man is the candle of Yahweh, searching all the inward parts of the belly.
The spirit of man is the candle of Yahweh. So if you look up that word in the Hebrew, it doesn't say candle, it says lamp, right? So we're talking about this right now in Matthew the 25th chapter, right? They're taking their lamps, which of course now people hear a lamp and they think of like electricity, things like that. Like I said, a couple more people came in here right now. This is an old lamp, right? It's an oil lamp. It's got the wick and it's got the oil in it. All right. So it says that the spirit of man is the candle of Yahweh, or the lamp in Hebrew of Yahweh. So your spirit, you got to be girded up in your spirit with the scriptures, with faith, with the fruits of the spirit, and with works, right? Right now is the time to get oil to keep your lamp lit, right? So now think about it. In a few months, when they really go into the lockdown, have you heard actually, there's a sister from Australia that I was talking to. Have you heard about what's happening in Australia?
I mean, I've heard a few things, not in particular, probably anything that's just happened. Are they going door to door?
In some areas they are, but I mean, they've according to her, they've been in lockdown. They really never came off of the first lockdown, but the second lockdown started. I think she said at the end of June or the beginning of July, and it's real crazy over there, man. It's like you can't do anything without the government having their hand in it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, anyways, but that's what's happening over there, and obviously, America being America the Great, it always happens here last, but that's what's coming, right? So when that starts happening, and when you need the mandatory jab to go out or to do anything, right? Or when they start censoring even more than they are now, right? And you can't get the truth, for example. Because did you hear about that? They made like a petition or something to take the genders off of birth certificates.
No, I have not heard that.
Yeah, it's offensive to what are they called? Non-binary or whatever, right? So all types of censorship are coming, and we know, like it says in Amos 8 and 11, the famine of the word is coming as well, right? Pretty soon, you're not gonna see no brothers on the street corners teaching, posting up videos. There's gonna come a point in time where me and you aren't even gonna be able to do this,
Con.
right? So right now is the time to get that oil in your lamp, right? Right now is the time to fill this up, right? And it says the spirit of man is the lamp of Yahweh, searching all the inward parts of the belly. So now, if our spirit is our lamp, right? It's our job to keep oil in our lamp, in our spirit. And you can portray yourself, like we said many times, to be something that you're not, or to say my lamp is full, I'm on fire for the Most High, right? But notice what it says here, searching all the inward parts of the belly. Your belly is, I'm sure you know this as well, from when we were into like chakras and all that. Your belly is like the core, right? It's the center. So it's saying searching to your down to your core is what it's saying, right? The Most High searches all your parts. So you have to make sure that your oil is really, your lamp is really full of oil in these times.
This is Amos 8 and 11. Behold, the days come, said the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh.
So over the past couple of weeks, I've been doing, for a while now, but even the past couple of weeks, particularly, I've been doing like certain little counselings with certain people and stuff like that, whether it be through here, because I can share scriptures. I'll just give them a StreamYard link or whatever, or on the phone, or even in person. But guess what? Pretty soon, we're not going to be able to do that, like I said. You're not going to be able to go to some, oh man, I don't have faith and I don't know what to do and this, that, and the other. Right now is the time to get your oil filled. Right? If you can get Isaiah 33 and 6 as well, Ak. And it's crazy because there's a lot of people that claim to be in the truth, right? That are putting off certain things. You have to understand that, okay, like for example, this lamp, right? There could be a crack in it and oil starts leaking out. If I store it in heat, right, it can start evaporating. It could start cracking the what is it called? The wick. The wick can harden, and then I have to get a new one. There's many different ways that things can go wrong, right? And it's the same thing with us. So you have to be very vigilant of all circumstances and watch everything and be sober and vigilant, right? Like it says in 1 Peter. So it hasn't popped up on my side yet.
Let me see if I posted it. Yeah, I posted it. Let me just read it. This is Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure.
So what is going to keep us stable in these days? Money?
Nope.
Wisdom and knowledge.
And knowledge. All praises.
Wisdom and knowledge. You could get Proverbs 11 and 4 also, Baba Kashaw. I'm going to pull out some of the classics, right? So Isaiah 33 and 6. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of thy salvation. So wisdom and knowledge, that oil, that's what we need to be filling ourselves up with right now. Because there could be one precept that you learn today that later on could help you. You're in a certain situation. Man, what do I do? Man, my faith is lacking. And then you remember that one precept. Right? So, Salakio, I got the Proverbs 11 and 4, but that's weird. The Isaiah didn't pop up, but it's all good.
This is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death.
A lot of brothers and sisters are stacking up riches right now. Like the video I made earlier about prudence, right? It's a prudent thing to start filling up your oil. It's of course we know we're still in captivity. We have to work, do certain things to pay the bills. But if you are thinking, I'm gonna get rich, I'm gonna become a millionaire, I'm gonna go to school and do this, that, and the other, right? I know a sister that's going to school to get her master's, right? And I was saying, man, there's not enough time for that. 7, 8 years. You think we got that much time left out in normal society to go 7 or 8 years?
I would say, I personally, I wouldn't put a time frame on it, but I would say 70 years of this normalcy is not going to continue.
Exactly.
You know, we don't know what's going to happen in 7 or 8 years, but I can almost guarantee that it won't be anything like it is right now.
Con, and that's what I said. I said you maybe, because I said the same thing. No one knows the day or hour, right? But there's no possible way. This is what I said. The thing I can guarantee you is that unless you're gonna get that jab, you're not gonna go 7 or 8 years and going to school and finishing it.
Unless, right? Yeah, unless you get the jab. I even saw a thing. Somebody posted that there's a steward fee for the unvaxxed.
Oh, Con, when you go to work?
For school.
Oh, for school. Okay. I saw in some state, I forgot what state.
I saw the one for they're gonna start docking you, right?
Yeah, $50 a check or $50 a month if you don't have it. But I didn't hear about the school one. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And there was a brother that had said that even in one of the places or one of the schools where they're making it mandatory, you still have the option to not get it, but that then you have to get tested every like 3 to 5 days. And he was saying that he wasn't for sure, but that he heard it has to be the one where you're getting it stuck up your nostril and they're poking your brain and stuff.
Imagine having to do that back to back to back to back to back to back.
Man. There's people that have gotten brain hemorrhages from that.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
Right. So right after you posted this verse, Kingdom Minded 144, Shalamak, he said, do you think it's better to stock up gold when the dollar falls? So it's interesting that you said that because I was looking it up probably a week or two ago, and gold was doing this, right? And then it started like it's not even going up that much anymore, right? If the dollar does crash, then it's going to go up a little bit, maybe. But the thing is, cryptocurrency is the way they're going, man. The United States is already working on building their own cryptocurrency for the government. So when that happens, if you look back to what was it? It was after World War I. For a couple of years, it was actually illegal to pay in gold. It was illegal. And the reason that they did that is because they were trying to keep, they didn't want the markets to fluctuate like basically they're doing now, right? So there's going to come a point in time where, like in India, I don't know if I had ever mentioned that to you, Ak. I know I was telling one of the brothers, oh no, you know what, it was another brother. In India, if you look up on YouTube, India market crash bank lines, right? And you'll see videos where the bank lines, bro, they were like a mile long. Because what happened was well, you're a banker, so you know when the percentage got down to a negative, if the interest rate got down to a negative percentage rate, what's everybody gonna do, Ak?
Man, everyone's gonna want to be in the bank right there.
Well, okay, so if we had our money in the bank for savings, right?
You taking that money right out.
Khan. So that's what happened in India. I believe it was 2016, 2017. So the interest rate went to a negative. So everybody was going to the bank to try and take out their money. So when that happened, then what happens? The whole system, the whole dollar system crashes because everybody pulls their money out the banks. Right? So the United States and other countries are not going to let that happen. That's why they're moving towards the cryptocurrency. Right? Gold price will jump if the dollar crashes. It will temporarily, but then eventually we're gonna go to a one world monetary system, currency, cryptocurrency, right? Ram Kanaktazat Shalamak Shalom Yahweh Shami Hawashai Barakatah. Brother said not enough time, Khan. So again, we don't know the day and hour, but like me and the brother were saying, if you think you're gonna go 7 or 8 years to school without getting a jab, that is not gonna happen. You want to read that up?
This is Matthew 6:20. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal.
Khan, you want to break that down real quick, Art?
Khan, we want to make sure that we invest in our spiritual, that we invest in the treasure that is heavenly. Like the brother always says, all that is spiritual is physical here too. But when you start actually investing in the fruits of your spirit, you start investing in those treasures in heaven, because those things are everlasting. You know, that's what's really gonna get you out of all situations here on earth into the spiritual. But here, let's say you do invest, or let's say you actually invest in you take your cash from the bank, right? It's all in your debit card. You go and withdraw all that cash. You're like, man, I don't know, after this next lockdown, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna put it in a little paper bag, put it in dig a little hole, put it in the earth, and then what happens? It rains. What happens to your cash? That money's gonzo. So it's important to lay yourself those treasures in heaven by keeping that lamp, that oil full, so that you are investing in your spiritual.
Khan. Everything the brother said. Exactly. I mean, you can, and it's like another brother said, I forgot what his name is, but he was saying about someone that sent me a video. As a matter of fact, could you get Proverbs 30 verses 8 and 9? So a brother was saying that, who posted it? I believe it was Zebulon 144 or 144K, something like that, on Instagram. He's another good brother to follow. He posts a lot of good news and stuff like that. But he was saying, or he posted something to the effect of, all the preparation that we're doing is good physically, but you have to understand, if your spirit isn't right, if you're not stacking treasures in heaven first, all that stuff it's not going to matter. It's going to be wiped away. You could stock up on food, you could stock up on money, you could stock up on gold, but if you're not right in your spirit and you're not putting the Most High first in all things, then there's a million different ways he could just make that go wrong, and none of that's going to even matter.
This is Proverbs chapter 30, verse 8. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Verse 9. Lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is Yahweh? Lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain.
Khan. So remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Right? We're not trying to be poor in this world. We're not trying to be rich in this world. Because being poor might end up making you're going to try and steal to eat. You're going to try and steal to provide for yourself. Or you get rich and you fall into the love of money. right? Which is the root of all evil, like it says in Timothy. So we're not striving for riches. We're striving to be content with being godly, right? And the Most High provides all everything that we need, as long as we're following Him in sincerity, right? K's, clouds. We're gonna go over the mark of the beast, right? And a short answer, we'll say the microchip, but there's much more to it than that. There's much more, and me and the brother were actually gonna do that this week for sure by Sabbath. If not on, then on Sabbath, maybe we could do that. We're gonna go over that. Most High willing, this week for sure we'll get that done. Akeisha, Sammy, shalom, sis. Shalom, shalom.
Remove vanity and lies. So I got a precept, Psalms 101 and 3. I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me.
Khan, I will set no wicked. So when you're removing vanity, removing lies, like the brother posted here, I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. A lot of times it's us just putting wickedness in front of us, whether it be through the TV, whether it be through your phone, whether it be in person, right? You want to put wicked people in front of you, right? I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. You have to hate. It's like the scriptures say, right? We're supposed to hate the evil and love the good. It's a righteous thing to hate evil, because the Most High hates evil, because Yahushua hates evil. If you're in the spirit, you're going to hate evil, right? So I hate the work of them that turn aside. We have to hate the works of the people and the things that are trying to turn us aside from the Most High, that are trying to turn us aside from the straight path to the kingdom, right? Because that's what it really means. This path is so narrow that only one person can walk at a time. So anybody who's turning you aside, they're trying to get you to fall off of that path. So we have to hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. Because if you don't hate them that are trying to the works of them that are trying to turn you aside, that spirit might just cleave onto you. And you're listening to music that's wicked. You're watching TV that's wicked. And now you got these wicked spirits coming through those different means of works that are going to turn you aside, right? So let's go back to Matthew 25 real quick. So let's start back on 26 and we'll read through it.
This is Matthew 25, verse 6. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him.
We're coming up on 12 o'clock.
Coming right on clock. Already know. Verse 7. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps.
So now imagine this for a second. My daughter actually pointed this out when we were going over this parable last time. So on the lamp, you see the wick, right? You see how it's burned? Okay. So when you trim the lamp, I mean, that's so you can keep it lit. But also she was saying like, yeah, when you trim it, it looks better too. You don't see the whole burnt thing, right? So imagine like people putting on their nicest garment, fringed up and everything, right? But some of them are foolish though, right? We can't judge by appearance.
Verse 8. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out.
So now another point to make. Give us of your oil, ours are gone out. Right? Like we said before, there's the spiritual and there's the physical. Right? So there's going to be people in that day where it says, where people say, hey man, I didn't prepare. Right? Proverbs 22 and 3. I didn't prepare in no way, shape, or form. I didn't stash any food, any water, any I don't even have my Bible with me, right? I have no gas in my car. and we need to flee from the cities, but I have nothing, no tent, no tool, nothing, absolutely nothing, right? And then they're gonna come to you and say, can you give me some of yours, right? And it's like I was saying last time as well, like, bro, I got 6 people in my household. If somebody else wants to come to my household, whether it be like the brother Jomar, right? If he's got some skills, maybe he can add to it. He's got faith. He's gonna follow the word. That's already a little bit of oil he's gonna add to my household, right? But then let's say it's a sister. Let's say, oh, it's Isaiah 4:1. We will eat our own bread. Just let me be called by your name. I'll cook. I can sew. Blah blah blah. Right? There's gonna be some that have nothing to offer. They got no oil. Ain't nobody gonna want nobody to come into their house when they got none of their own oil. Right? They're gonna say, oh, our lamps are gone out. I have nothing. Right? And I have no faith. Man, I'm just so worried. The Most High is not protecting me, not provide whatever. You gotta have some type of oil, right? There's no such thing as a free meal. Somebody's got to pay for it, even if it's free.
Matthew 25:9. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves.
So not so, right? Let's say in Jacob's trouble, you didn't study enough, you didn't build up your faith, you didn't have enough works, you didn't get no knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you have no precepts in your head, you have no precepts written upon the table of your heart, like it says in Proverbs. And now you're gonna want somebody to teach you the ways of the Most High, right? That's why it says in Proverbs, the first chapter, they that seek me early, or they will call on me early, right? And in that early, it's already too late. That early, they're talking about as soon as stuff starts happening, as soon as the shit starts hitting the fan, that's when they're gonna call on the Most High, but it's gonna be too late. The same thing in the physical. Let's say there's no more food on the shelves, which we've been saying it's coming in the fall and in the winter. That's when there's not gonna be that much food. Just watch. Because in fall is when the harvest comes. So all these people that haven't been growing, or all these people that the government's been paying to not grow, right, or to burn their crops or destroy their crops, they're not going to have harvest at that time. So if you didn't save up at that time, or you weren't growing, you're not growing now, like it says here, they're going to go and what are people going to have to say? No, go rather to them that sell, because there's not going to be enough for us and for you, right? So of course it always starts in the spirit, but it's also physical as well.
Also, I want to add to that. With that oil, that spiritual oil, let's say someone does try to come into your household, you got 6 people you got to account for, and somebody who's never followed the laws, someone who's never even tried to follow any sense of spirituality that comes from the scriptures, they'll have no idea what it's like to be hungry or to fast or have that endurance or to even understand that this one does not go away without fasting and praying. That's going to be foreign to them, to where hopefully those of us that read scripture understand that, there's times where you have to be hungry and you have to starve your flesh, and just understanding that concept in itself, enduring that concept, practicing the works, that way when it comes time to it, the idea of fasting, the idea of praying without ceasing, those thoughts are already engraved in your mind. And now it's just something, it's like, okay, now it's just time to do what we've been doing, but just kick it up a notch. Whereas it's going to be a culture shock to those that have never even dipped their toes in the water,
That's a good point to make. And that goes for anything, right? Like, I mean, if you're not used to it, it's going to be real hard to do it in that moment. right? And that's why at the gym, when I was fighting MMA and stuff, they would always say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready because fights will just pop up out of nowhere. Hey, you want to fight next week? Oh yeah, I've been training. Let's do it. And then you haven't been, and then, oh shit, man, that was my opportunity. But I don't want to do it. I haven't even been training, I haven't been getting ready. Right? So same thing with this. You got to have your oil already in your lamp, because when that time comes, you're not going to be able to get no oil. Right? And like the brother following Yeshua was saying as well, he was talking about well, actually it was another brother that was on the live with him. Like, think about it the way you said. If a woman, for example, because they were talking about the whole like in that day, bro, when Book of Eli times happened, like we were talking about, there's gonna be a lot of women that are like, you know what? No, I really need a man now. But if you haven't practiced humility, if you haven't practiced or even have it in your spirit that, man, I need to be obedient to my husband, you're not gonna. You think you're really just gonna be able to pull it off in that day? No hiccups, no speed bumps, nothing. No, you got to practice it before, right? And that's why the Most High says, them that are getting, if you're not humble, you're going to be abased. Let's just say that. Right now is the time to get humble, in any sense of that, whatever that means to you, right?
Matthew 25:10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut.
And the door was shut. To me, this is the fear part of the whole thing, right? And the door was shut. All right. What did it mean when the door was shut with Noah in the ark?
Man, you're drowning.
You're dead, right? That's it. You have no chance whatsoever. That's what it meant. The door was shut. And imagine all the people that saw Noah building the whole time, that heard him. Hey, y'all need to repent. Y'all need to get right. The flood's coming. And for years and years and years and years and years, and he's building the ark, and you're thinking he's stupid. And he's saying, y'all need to get right. The flood's coming. Y'all are going to die. And then the door shuts, and then the flood comes. Right? That's exactly what's going to happen in these days. But the floods are going to be plagues. Right? Like we read in 2nd Ezra, I will send plagues, famine, widowhood, pestilences, right? Fire, the sword, all these different plagues are going to start happening like crazy. The door was shut. And let me add to that one more thing too. The door was shut. Just me speaking from my household's standpoint, right? When Jacob's trouble really pops off and stuff, my door is going to be shut to the majority of people. Right? Go ahead, Art.
11. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not.
I know you not. Right? That's like in Matthew 7 and 21, I think. Matthew 7 and 1, where he says the same thing. Oh, 7, all the way down to 23. He says, I never knew you. Right? I know you not. This is what's going to happen to the majority of people. Because how do I know? I don't really know the brother Jomar if I don't know the way he speaks, if I don't know he's following what he follows, what he likes, the type of music he likes, right? Same thing with the Most High, with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. How do you know him but you don't know any of the things that he likes. You don't know what he requires of you.
Khan, I was just in that spirit yesterday. You know, I was just thinking out loud to myself how you know, I have a lot of people that follow me or that I know from before coming into the truth that say they're Christian, say they read, or but I know damn I you know Salaki, I know damn well that that may not be the case, you know. So how, to me, it's not offensive to me, it's more so offensive to the Most High. How do you say you know him but you don't read about him?
Khan,
You know, Joshua 1 and 8. That's one of the only ways to get to know him.
Khan. How would you get to know your actual father? By talking to him, right? Asking him questions. Now we can't physically ask the Most High a question. He gives us an answer. His answers are in the book, right? And it's funny because in the book, it's very simple when it comes down to one thing. The whole book comes down to, are you going to follow what it says to do or not? It can all come down to that. Are you going to do what the book says to do or not? And the majority of people, as we know, are not going to. And that's why he says, I know you not. Because guess what? You don't know the Most High either. You don't know Yahushua either. Because if you knew him, you would know exactly what he was doing. What he was doing is following the word. He wasn't reading the word to people and not following it. He was doing what the book says to do. Right?
Watch, therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh.
We don't know when he's going to come, like we said, right? So what are we supposed to do then? Watch.
Watch.
Watch. Watch what? Watch everything that's coming to pass. Right? Watch everything that is coming to pass. And a lot of people aren't watching. They're just going through with their daily life. And if you could pull up Proverbs 22 and 3, Baba Kishar. Proverbs 22 and 3. Let me go down. It says there's some comments. My brother trying to get me to smoke weed. Khan. That's Sirach, the 2nd chapter. If you come to serve Yahweh, prepare your soul for temptation. Right? That's a good sign, right? When Satan is trying to tempt you, because like the brother Jomar was saying the last live, Satan doesn't even have to tempt people that are on his side. They're just gonna do it. It's not even a temptation, it's just an action.
Con.
They don't even think about it. Hey, you want to smoke this week? Con, let me hit that. No, not even con, right? Yeah, let me hit that.
They might not even get the offer, man. They might ask.
Right? They might steal it from their friend, right? So-called friend. Right? So that's just Satan trying to tempt you out. He's about
and with that, you know, the thing about smoking is you letting all these spirits in. You know, it's a form of sorcery. If you really think about it, it's a form of idolatry. And then by doing that, you're inviting things like anxiety, depression, you know, and if you're susceptible to that, those things stay on you after you're not high. You know, so that it's long term all around. You know, you want to avoid that at all costs.
Con, most definitely, and like you said, it's a form of sorcery, which is witchcraft, right? Because all these weeds out here are pharmaceutical weed, right? They have chemicals in them. They have all types of different things in them. They have atrazine in them, which makes you act like a female, right? That's why when people don't have weed and they start, and it's funny because my rib's mom said this one time, because she had what, like 3 or 4 dudes living in her house, her son's friends, so the dude she was with, living there, and they all smoke weed. And he was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, they act like a bunch of girls when they ain't got no weed. And I was like, yeah, because there's atrazine in the weed. It literally, the chemicals make them addicted to it, and then the atrazine makes them act like females, right? Like it's scientifically proven. But the brother said, Zabak said, out in New York, when Hurricane Sandy about to hit, they cut the food trucks 3 days before the storm hit, and there wasn't no food for like 3 days in New York. So you know they set up all of this stuff. They set up all of it. Okay? They set up everything. They can control the weather. I don't know if you saw that. I posted it a couple of times. They show you that they control the weather, right? I believe it was in Greece. They said that they had to make artificial rain because it was getting too dry. So why is there a drought in the West, on the West Coast then? Because they want it to happen, right? They're making more shortages on the food. Sean Salaki, you want to add to that?
I was just gonna say, even before I came into this truth, you know, that I was always looking into that kind of stuff. I believe there's international laws. What are they called? Like laws for war, where you can't use. I don't know what it's called. Not bio.
Yeah, like weather weapons.
Yeah, you can't use that type of weaponry. You know, where I mean, you know, I've read certain things like when that tsunami hit Japan and it hit like a nuclear plant on the coast. You know, a lot of people were speculating things of that nature. I mean, you could go ahead and do your own research on stuff like that, but you know, it's well documented. I was just outside earlier and I was observing that there was a chemtrail and or a condensation trail, and like not even 5 minutes later, I was taking a picture and it was gone. It wasn't gone, but the trail wasn't the trail no more. It was an actual cloud that had spread out. You know? But yeah, that's just a little side note on that. You know, all these things are orchestrated, cannot be susceptible. You cannot be deceived by Satan's devices.
Most definitely. They're using all of this, and of course, the Most High is allowing it to happen to pull out His plan, letting all these things happen, right? But like the brother said, it's all, you can verify it on the internet. Just look it up for yourself. And these are all things that, and this is why me and this brother get along so well. Like we were both into so-called conspiracy theories before even coming into the truth, right? Shawnee Destiny, we can't ask the Most High questions. What? So yeah, you can ask him a question, but guess where his answers are? Where are his answers, sis? Give me 2 Peter 3:16. So the brother Ivan said, look up DEW, direct energy weapons. So when you saw all those fires in California, what was it, a year or two ago? I don't know if you saw that, Ak. And it was like houses being burned, whole neighborhoods burned down, but it was just the house. It wasn't none of the greenery around it, nothing, right? It was just the house. Because those smart meters actually have to where these direct energy weapons can just beam right down to them and hit them, and then what happens to the house? It gets set on fire, right?
This is 2 Peter 3:16, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood.
So that's my bad. It's 2 Timothy 3:16, but we can finish this one as well.
3:16. Okay. Let me finish that off. Which they that are unlearned and unstable rest, as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction.
So this is speaking about Paul. A lot of the things in Paul's writings are hard to be understood, right? And they cannot be understood by people that are unlearned or unstable in the so-called Old Testament. Okay? Why? Because Paul was speaking of the so-called Old Testament and Apocrypha, right?
Wow.
So if he's quoting the so-called Old Testament and Apocrypha, and you don't even know what he's quoting, then you're unstable in the other scriptures, and you're unlearned in them. So then you're also gonna rest or wrestle to understand his writings, right? As you do the other scriptures unto their own destruction, right? But the verse I wanted to get, it hasn't popped up over here yet, but if you want to read it, you can go ahead on.
Yeah, this is 2 Timothy 3:16. All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness.
So now you can ask, like she said, we can't ask the Most High questions. You can ask the Most High questions, but guess what? All of his answers are in the Word, right? Oh, okay, Tawad, I see it in the private chat. Let me post it up real quick so we can read this one more time. All of the answers to all of your questions are in the scriptures. Now, if you're asking for a blessing, right, then that's something different. But he's not going to just answer you and you're going to hear a voice, oh, yeah, he said that he's going to do this on this day at this time. When have you ever heard of that happening in the so-called New Testament? Right? The Most High answer. This is how we like we just talked about earlier. How do you know the Most High? By knowing His Word. How do you get your questions answered? Like if the brother, for example, if the brother said, "Hey, Ak, I don't know what I should do in this situation," blah blah blah. How am I going to answer you, Ak?
Verses, precepts.
Exactly. We're going to go precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Why? Because we have to let Yahweh be true and every man a liar. Right?
Come.
Go ahead.
2 Timothy 3:16. All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness.
All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High. So the answers to all of our questions are in the scriptures because it was inspired by the Most High. Right? You can give me Psalm 67 and 11 too, Baba Kashaw. Psalm 67:11. It says, and is profitable for doctrine. If you look up the definition of doctrine, whether it's the secular or non-secular definition, it's going to say something to the effect of a set of rules to live by. Okay? So if you're asking the Most High, how am I supposed to live? What am I supposed to do in this certain situation? Guess what? The scriptures is profitable for doctrine. That's your set of rules to live by. For reproof and correction, if you're asking him, what do I need to correct in my life? What do I need to change? You go to the scriptures. For how do I be righteous, Yahweh? How do I do it? You go to the scriptures, right? It's inspired by the Most High and is profitable for doctrine, reproof, correction, and instructions in righteousness. So you can ask him questions, and I like how you put that there. You want to read that real quick?
Proverbs 28:9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination.
You want to break that down?
Most definitely. If you're not keeping these laws, if you're not trying your best to the best of your ability to keep your oil in your lamp, he's not even going to hear you. You know, not even just that. Let's say you're out being wicked, you're out just doing all kinds of wickedness, and you come up on a what some would call karma, but you're just bringing this onto yourself, and then you're like, oh Yahweh, like, man, I was smoking, I got stopped by the cops, please save me from this situation. Not only is he not going to hear you, but that prayer is going to be an abomination. he's gonna be offended that you're even. That's like the brother always says, when his son, let's say his son, isn't behaving all day, for example, um, all day, just not listening to him, not listening to him. Then at the end of the day, he's like, "Can I go out and play?" Like, what do you think the brother's gonna say? You've been bad all day. Like, you don't deserve it. Of course, the Most High will do and have mercy on whom He will have mercy on. But rule of thumb, if you're out being wicked and then you're out asking the Most High for blessings, your prayer is going to be an abomination if you're not keeping your ear to the law.
Calm. So yeah, I like that example. So going along with what the sister asked, if you can't ask the Most High things, you can ask Him whatever you want, right? But you have to understand that He don't even want to hear it from you if you're not following the laws, if you're not following what He says to do, right? So this is a precept for 2 Timothy 3:16.
Psalm 68:11. The Lord gave the word. Great was the company of those that published it.
So yes, men published the word. They physically wrote it down and documented it. But guess what? The Most High gave the word, right? So if you want to get your questions answered from the Most High, that's how you do it, right? You go into the word that He gave, because it's profitable for correction, for reproof, for instructions in righteousness, for doctrine, meaning a set of rules to live by, right? So let's go to Luke 11, and we're gonna go 35 through 40 through 48. 11:35 through 48. So that's about being what we just went over, right? Matthew, the 25th chapter. We'll go back to it real quick and just hit a couple key verses while the brother pulls those up, right? So now you have to ask yourself, are you being a wise wife? And now notice it says wife because Yahushua is the bridegroom. The wife is the church, right? But it's talking about man or woman, okay? It's just giving a parable because we know Yahushua spoke in parables, right? So are you being wise? Are you part of the wise? Are you part of the foolish? Right? They that were foolish took their lamps with no oil in them. So don't expect to be delivered in Jacob's trouble if you have no oil in your lamp. Right? Like the brother said, meaning having the scriptures written on the table of your heart, having faith, having works, doing what the word says to do. Right? Having the spirit. Because if not, when the time comes, let me verse 8. You're going to be saying, give us of your oil for our lamps are gone out. Your lamp is going to go out. I did a live on that not too long ago as well about the Most High can put your light out. Right? That could mean He puts out your understanding. That could mean He puts out your will to even follow the word. That could mean He puts your light out physically. He kills you. Right? So you have to prepare, have that oil in your lamp, spiritually, physically. So now we're going to talk about being a wise steward or servant, right? So the last verse said to watch, or else He's going to come upon you unaware. The bridegroom, Yahushai, when He comes back with fire and the sword, Isaiah 66, right?
This is Luke 11:35. Take heed, therefore, that the light which is in thee be not darkness.
So now what does He say? Take heed that the light which is in thee be not darkness. Going back to the lamp, right? We have to keep our lamps lit. We got to stay on fire for the Most High. As a matter of fact, if you could get Revelation 3:15 and 16. Salakia, the brother will be back right now. So I'm going to go to Revelation 3:15 and 16. Let me add him back real quick.
3:15 and 16.
There you go. 3:15 and 16. So it says, Take heed, therefore, that the light which is in thee be not darkness. Right? But going back to the lamp, you got to keep oil in your lamp and not let it go out.
Verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth.
So is your light, your flame, your fire, is it hot or is it cold, Doc?
Salaki, I can hear you.
Said fire is hot, right?
Khan.
So we got to stay on fire for the Most High. And like it says here, take heed that the light which is in you be not darkness. We got to stay on fire, right? If you're cold, what's going to happen? I leave this outside in the freezing cold and it's lit, it's going to get put out.
Khan.
Right? We got to stay on fire for the Most High, staying in the Spirit, staying in the Scriptures, doing what it says to do.
This is Luke 11 and 36. If thy whole body therefore be full of light, having no part dark, the whole shall be full of light, as when the bright shining of a candle doth give thee light.
So, Salakia. So if your whole body therefore be full of light, which we know the law is the light, the word, Yahushai said, I am the light of the world. The word in general is the light. The laws, precepts, laws, statutes, commandments, right? That is the light. We have to have the light in us, right? So that we can be full of light. Okay?
37. And as he spoke, a certain Pharisee besought him to dine with him, and he went in and sat down to meat.
Salakia, let's jump to I actually gave you, I said 11, it's 12, if you can go to 12. We'll go Luke 12, 35 through 48. So the brother said, can I come out there to South Texas to visit? I mean, Khan, we're going to, Most High willing, like I told the brother Jomar, I haven't said anything yet because it's not 100% thing. But we already put an offer on a property and on a house. And Most High willing, I mean, they already accepted it. They got to go out there and do some stuff to get the contract settled. But as long as once we get that, we're going to start looking to try and get the acres that are behind it, right? Which is, it's a lot of acres. We're going to see maybe they'll split it up. Maybe we could get 5, 10. But what I was going to say is we're going to do Feast of Tabernacles. I'll announce it once it's a little bit closer, which is, I believe, in October. Which is, I mean, that would be a blessing to have some brothers and possibly sisters go out there and do Feast of Tabernacles. We'll all sleep in tents under the stars, right? But as of right now, I mean, this moment we're getting ready to move out and all that stuff. So, I mean, maybe we can make some time, but just get with me on Instagram, Mark. I believe I know what brother that is actually. Right?
Two more verses out.
Go ahead. So now notice though how this went perfectly together, right? In Luke 11 and 35, it says, take heed therefore that the light which is in thee be not darkness. In other words, don't get your light put out. In other words, keep oil in your lamp, right? Now when we go to the next chapter, the same verse, look what it says.
verse. This is 12:35. Let your loins be girded about, and your lights burning.
Khan, let your loins be girded about, and your what? And your lights burning. We got to keep the fire for the Most High burning, right? You let it dim, and it just might get put out. So we got to keep it burning. And it says, let your loins be girded about. So, like we said many times, girding up your loins is preparing for war, for battle. We're always, if you're trying to follow the Most High, you know that you're in a spiritual battle at all times, right? When you leave your house, you got to know I'm in some way or another, because this world is wicked, right? In some way or another, Satan's going to try to fight you. He's going to try to tempt you, right? So you got to keep the loins girded. There's a verse. Let me see. Or if you want to get it out, where it says, gird up the loins of your mind. Right? So let your loins be girded. Like I said, back in the days when they were going to go to war, they would gird up their loins, right? The long vesture or garment they would wear, they would gird it around their legs, their thighs, so they could run, so they could jump, they could kick, things like that, right? It was preparing for battle. So when it says, let your loins be girded, again, it's talking about girding up the loins of your mind, being ready for that spiritual battle at all times.
This is 1 Peter 1:13. Wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach.
So gird up the loins of your mind. You got to know this is a mental and spiritual battle at all times, right? When I leave my house, I already know when I go to work or something, and I think this almost every day. I'm like, man, I wonder what kind of wickedness I'm going to see today. I go to Walmart or something, and I'm like, man, I wonder what kind of wickedness, lascivious, homosexual, trans, whatever. I know I'm going to see something, right? I know I'm going to see something. So you got to gird up the loins of your mind. Be ready for that mental and spiritual battle, right? Be sober, right? Don't be drunken, whether it be physically or spiritually, right? You could be drunk off of, how they say, drunk off of love. That it's more likely you're gonna be drunk off of lust. Right?
Babylon's wine.
and hope to the end for grace that will be brought at the revealing of Yahushua, right? When he comes back, which is that bridegroom we were talking about. So let's keep going.
Luke 12:36. And ye yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord, when he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately.
When we got to be waiting for Yahushua when he comes back, and immediately we're gonna be like, all right, that's it, we're out of here. Let's do this. Let's do this. We've been waiting for this. We've been praying for this.
Man.
Right?
Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself.
So blessed are those servants whom when he cometh, he's going to find you watching the signs, right? In the scriptures, so that we can see, okay, this says this is going to happen in the last days. Oh, that's an example. That's happening right now. Oh, it says there's going to be a falling away. Man, I see brothers falling out the truth. It says there's going to be false prophets. Hey, this brother in the truth is saying he's Elijah the prophet, right, Ak?
Yeah.
Exactly. You're watching all these things and you're seeing, man, Yahushua must be coming soon. Look at all these things coming to pass.
And make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them.
Right. So we're the Most High is going to make us to sit down to meet. See, he's going to give us everything that we need. All right, in the kingdom. We're never gonna worry again. Oh man, like how it says, we're gonna be subject to payments in this captivity. We don't have to worry about that no more. Where are we going to get our food from? We don't have to worry about that no more. Oh man, well, what if this, my friend, man, I think they're going off. I think my wife, or I think my children, or whatever, they're being tempted. We don't have to worry about none of that no more, right? And all we're going to do, we're going to serve the Most High. And we won't even have to try, because it's going to be in us to do it.
And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants.
So when you get into the watches and stuff, it's like in the nighttime, right? Let's say me and the brother Jomar live together, and for, let's say, Jacob's trouble's going on. Or did you ever watch a Walking Dead arc?
Yeah, I think I'm even up to date on that. I'm just on the last season. I haven't watched it, but yeah, up to the truth. That was one of my favorite shows.
Same here. My rib, when we first started dating, she got me into it, and we watched like probably all of them, bro. But you know how when they were living in I forgot where it was called, but where the governor was. You remember the governor?
Yeah, that community.
Yeah, that community, and they always had, all right, you got the first watch, and there'd be people up there standing with their guns and everything, right? So they're talking about it's gonna be late, right? It's gonna be a lot of things are going to be happening, but also think about it this way. It's in the nighttime. What does the nighttime represent? That darkness, right? As we see us getting closer to salvation, we see that the world is getting darker and darker and darker spiritually, right? The word is the light. The law is the light. Yahushua is the light. And there's less and less and less people striving for that, pushing that, right? So it's getting darker and darker, right? So as it's getting darker and darker, and we're still watching, right? We're going through phases of darkness. It's just getting darker and darker and darker, right? And that's why it says, the love of in the end days, the love of many will wax cold. Well, what is love? Is to keep the commandments. What are the commandments? It's the light, right? So we're getting darker and darker, and it says, if he finds them doing so, still doing what the Most High wants us to do, blessed are those servants.
And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken through.
If you could get John 10 and 10, John 10 and 10. So it says, if I've given this example many times before, right? If you could get Proverbs 22 and 3 as well. So if I know when a thief is gonna come, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna prepare. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna wait for him, right? I'm not gonna let him break into my house. Okay, and this is why it's so important to watch. In Matthew 25, the parable of the 10 virgins, that was the last thing that Yahushua said. He said, "Watch therefore." So when I come back, it's not going to catch you unaware, right? We always got to be watching. So now, who is this thief? Let's go to John 10 and 10 and see what it's talking about. It didn't pop up on my side out, but if you want to read it.
Yeah, I got you. Let me post it. Yeah, it's in the comments. I'll just post it on the post it here so I can read it.
Okay. The Proverbs popped up.
Okay. John 10 and 10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and they may have it more abundantly.
So the thief comes to steal and kill and destroy, right? This is talking about Hashatan. This is talking about Satan, all of his evil workers, right? He's coming to steal your understanding, right? He's coming to steal your works. He doesn't want you doing that. He doesn't want you in the word. He doesn't want you to understand the word. He doesn't want you to follow the word. He's coming to kill you spiritually and to destroy you spiritually, right? But then Yahushua said, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly, right? So when we go back to Luke, when it said it, you have to watch, right? 12 and 39, it says, if you would have known when the thief was going to come, you would have watched, right? So going back to girding up the loins of your mind, you always have to know, like, look, we don't know exactly when Satan's going to tempt us and try to get us to go off. That's why we have to watch at all times, right? That's why we have to be sober and vigilant, because the adversary, the devil, is seeking who he can devour, like a lion, right?
Luke 12 and 40. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour which ye think not.
Right? So you had some, like I've talked about before, you had some camps 20 something years ago. And guess what they were saying? In the year 2000, man, that's it. Y'all better repent. Y'all better prepare. Y'all better enjoy the last days you have in Babylon the Great. It's about to get destroyed. 2000. Nobody knows the day or hour, right? It's coming. It's going to happen when some people aren't going to know when it's going to happen. They're going to not even think that it could have happened. It wouldn't surprise me if it happened in a week. It wouldn't surprise me if it happened in a month. It wouldn't have surprised me if it happened in a year, right? We don't know when, but that's why we have to consistently be watching and consistently keep oil in our lamps, right?
Salakia. Would you say that they were, in a sense, like in the times that these scriptures were being written after Yahushua had been here to come, that they were already preaching repentance and to keep their light on, because his time could have happened anytime then, as they didn't know from their perspective, you know? Would you say that they would say that times are nigh then, because they didn't know as well, so they were preparing as well?
So at that point in time, I mean, he was still with them.
Well,
So
right after, let's just say right after.
I mean, I would honestly wouldn't know that, but like the scriptures say, everything written aforetime is written for our learning. So I think a lot of the things that happened were just for the future. You know what I mean? Like Job, for example, it starts off with Job was a just, righteous man. So then why did the Most High let all these things happen to him? Yes, it was to test his faith, but it was also just to teach us, right? Like when I look back, if in the past when I've gone through certain things, and then I'm like, man, this is like, I'll start getting down on, man, I can't believe I'm going through this, whatever. And then it's like, compared to Job, bro, this is, Job would be like, come on, man.
I think of Second Maccabees 7 a lot.
That as well, right? But in a sense, and I used to do that too, right? But now I think about it like this: Second Maccabees 7, and I've even, when I've gone over it multiple times with my daughters and with my wife and stuff, and one of my daughters was agreeing with me too. And in a sense, it would have been like if I went like, okay, you're gonna go through this for one day, you're gonna be tortured, but then like their mom said, and I mean the scriptures are true, right? She said, just go through this, and she basically said, we're gonna make it to the kingdom. Like, you're dying for the Most High. I want to see you again. She was telling the last son, take it like a man. I want to have you and all my other sons in the kingdom, right? So when I look at it, like, I would go through that if it's basically a guarantee you're gonna make it to the kingdom. You know what I mean? And I know you would too. You know?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, so we should take it as joy that, you know, we're in these times. And the only reason I brought that up was just because we know that to the Most High a day is 1,000 years and vice versa. So like you said, we don't know, and wouldn't be surprised if, you know, it popped off in a day, if it popped off next month, you know, whenever the Most High chooses. But I was just bringing that point out just because, you know, to him a day could be 1,000 years, and vice versa. You know, so that's why you got to keep your lamp lit, because you don't know what type of time the Most High is on. You know, for lack of a better term.
Khan, exactly. We can't compare. His ways are above our ways. We can't even understand it, right?
Con.
So go ahead.
Luke 12:41. Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all?
So then Peter said, are you talking to us or are you talking to everybody?
Gone. And the Lord said, who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make rule over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season?
So now, using myself as an example again, right? It says that the Lord shall make a man ruler over his household, right? Not many men are rulers over their own households, especially in these days, right? Especially in these days, I mean, women rule the house, or the man is not even in the house, or the man leaves his children, because that's one of the curses, right? Deuteronomy 28:54, right? To give them their portion of meat in due season, to give them physically, give them food, but also spiritually, right? Isaiah 28:9. To whom will he teach wisdom? To whom will he make them to understand, right? Them that are weaned of the milk, right? You can't get the meat until you get the milk. So a man being able to give his children, to give his household, his wives, whatever, the word of the Most High, that is all of the Lord, first and foremost, right? But he's asking a question. He says, who is that wise and faithful steward? Right? Go ahead.
Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
So blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. So really quick, let's just take a quick detour, right? Who or how, because like it says, how much oil do you have, right? In general, we could speak generally. As a believer, what do we have to do? In general,
In general, I would say follow the laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability to start off with. Staying in the scriptures, um, being obedient, and serving the Most High first and foremost.
so follow the word to the best of our ability, right? Being obedient, following the word. Basically, like we said earlier, just do what the word says to do, right? But for most people, that's too general. Most people, they're like, okay, well, man, I've only read a couple verses in my whole life, right? So in 12:42, it says, who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household? So now we have to understand, we have the general thing we're supposed to do, which is follow the word. But then, and again, me and this brother, or me by myself, have made many lives on it about the different roles in the house, as the man, as the woman, as the children, right? If you're a child and you live with your parents, your general or your duty is to obey your parents, right? Obey the Most High, of course. Obey your parents, honor your parents. Unless, of course, you're saying do something against the Most High, then of course the Most High is in a higher position. You follow what he says to do, right? But when it comes to your household, right? For a woman, it's simple. If you give me Sirach 26:26, let's just get like one or two verses for the man, one for the woman, and then we'll close this out. We only got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 more verses. Because we have to understand, the Most High made the man to assume a certain position in the household, and he made the woman to assume a certain position in the household, right? So in order to be fulfilling the will of the Most High, because he said you're blessed if you're doing what he told you to do when he comes, right?
This is Sirach 26 and 26. A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all.
If you could get me Ephesians 5 and 20 through 22 through about, I think, 28. So it says, a woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all, right? If you're a married sister, it's easy. If you ask me, it's easy for you to be considered wise, right? And in the Apocrypha, it says, the Most High loveth none but them that dwell with wisdom. The Most High doesn't love no fools. He loves them that are wise, right? So a woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all. So I remember one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten in this truth, and it was from my rib, right? And she said, it was probably a few years ago. She said it multiple times, but the first time she said it, I was like, man, I was happy. Let's just say that. She said, she was like, man, you know, I thank the Most High because for me, it's so easy to walk this path just because all I have to do is like listen to you. Like you teach me and then I do what you say to do. And that's pretty much it. Like she studies on her own. She does categories and stuff like that. But still, like her saying that if you just honor your husband, you respect your husband, you're obedient to your husband as a female, guess what? You're wiser than all other women.
Con.
Simple. And that's why Most High willing, if and when the Most High gives you a wife, it'll be the same thing for her. It'll be easy. She gets to be wise.
That's the goal, definitely. As far as everybody, for lack of a better term, plays their role and understands what they have to bring to the table, it makes so much more easier. And this is coming from someone who, you know, has been in a relationship prior where the Most High was not a priority. You know, you kind of just winging it. You don't know who does what. You know, this person's doing that. This person's doing that. There's no order. You know what I mean? And it makes it easier. You know, like you're breaking down for a woman just to walk that path righteous. If you know, she just follows the lead, follows the head.
Con. And that's why it's so crazy to me. And again, you know exactly what I mean by crazy. I don't mean literally crazy, but so many women that claim to be in the truth, right? As a matter of fact, if you can give me Genesis 2 and 18 real quick. Genesis 2 and 18. So it's crazy to me that so many women claim to be in the truth, but then they don't want a husband. Right? That's like if I'm a man and I say, I don't want to provide for children. I don't want to have a household. Right? I don't want to provide for a woman. Like that's crazy. That's going against the order that the Most High set up. Go ahead.
This is Genesis 2 and 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him and help me for him.
So you have to understand that the woman was created for the man, right? For the man, like the brother said, it's if you're not in the word and you don't know exactly what the roles are, it's going to cause a whole bunch of confusion. And like the word says, the Most High is not the author of confusion. That's why it's plain and simple when it comes to all of these things, right? Like that video I had posted maybe a week ago, people try to hyper spiritualize certain things. You don't have to be in the spirit to understand a woman that honors her head or her husband shall be judged wise of all. You don't have to be in the spirit to understand that. That's plain and simple. You honor your husband, you're considered wise. Right? So let's go to Ephesians 5 and 22. So that's for the woman, right? Because it says you're going to be blessed if when Yahushua comes back and sees you doing the will of the Most High, the will for a married woman is for the woman to follow the man in righteousness, right? So now let's look at the woman and the man.
John, Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
So submit yourselves to your husbands as unto Yahushua is who's this talking about here, right? So again, like the example I've given before, if your husband comes home and he says, and you say, what do you want for dinner? And he says, pizza. You're not going to be like, oh, I don't want to eat pizza today. We ate pizza 2 days ago. No, if that was Yahushua walking in, you would say, okay, no pepperoni, right? Cheese. Okay. Khan. Go ahead.
For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body.
So the husband is the head of the wife, just like Christ or Yahushua is the head of the church, right? So the will of the Most High for the woman is to obey the husband as she would obey Yahushua. Now, keep in mind, Yahushua is never going to tell you, go steal something for me. Let's go break the Sabbath, right? That's why the order in 1 Corinthians 11:3 says, Yahushua, the man, the woman. If the man, you're supposed to listen to the man. But if he says, do something against Yahweh, well, guess what? You're breaking the ranks, so to speak. The Most High has more authority than the man, and you're gonna listen to what the Most High says.
24. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything.
So just obey your husband, and you're considered wise, right? To the sisters, because remember, it says when Yahushua comes back, you're gonna be blessed, and as we're gonna see in a few verses when we go back to Luke 12, it's saying you're gonna make it to the kingdom if you're doing the will of the Father when Yahushua comes back, right? So if you're married, and this is another thing that's been coming up a lot lately, there's sisters that are married and their husbands aren't really following the Most High. They're either lukewarm or they're back in the world or whatever. That doesn't change your duty and the will that the Most High has for you, right? You still have to obey your husband as long as it's not breaking the Most High's word, right? So now let's get to the men.
Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it.
So husbands, you got to love your wives. Love is correction, right? Reproof, correcting them, that's comforting them, that's teaching them the scriptures, right? And you have to be willing to give your life for it. Like I think me and the brother Azariah were saying on one of the lives, if somebody comes and knocks on the door and bangs on the door at 3 o'clock in the morning, are you going to answer it, or is the woman going to answer it? The man, right? You got to be willing to give up your life for the woman, just like Yahushua did for us.
That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
And part of loving your wife is cleansing her and washing her with the water by the word. So Yahushua said, he who believeth on me, as the scriptures say, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. The living water is the doctrine, it's the word, right? So if you love your wife the way you're supposed to, like it said in Ephesians 5:25, then you are going to cleanse her and sanctify her with the word daily. She starts going off and she's getting emotional, or she's losing faith, or she's getting out of the spirit. What are you going to do? You're going to cleanse her with the word. Look, baby, let's go over these scriptures, whatever. Look, this says this. Look, you're worrying. These scriptures say this. Look, you're losing. You seems like you're losing your faith. It says this, right? You seem down. Let's go to Sirach. Look, it says you're not supposed to afflict yourself in your own counsel, right?
27. That he might be present to it, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish.
because you are helping him to cleanse the church. What was Yahushua doing the whole time he was on the earth? He was giving the word. He was cleansing the whole church, anybody that would hear, with the word, right? The scriptures say that the disciples baptized many, but Yahushua didn't baptize anybody, right? Because he was cleansing them with the washing of water by the word. Now, some people try to say, oh, well, if he wasn't baptizing people, then we shouldn't be baptizing. But guess what? He was baptized, right? That's just not what he came to do. He was the mouthpiece of the Most High, the oracle of the Most High in the flesh, right? So that's what we're supposed to, Salakia. So that's what we're supposed to do in the household as the man, right? Go ahead.
So men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself.
So by you loving your wife, you are loving yourself. Okay? Remember that. Tuck that in your mind, because when we go back to Luke, let me go back to Luke 12. You're going to see that the Most High holds you accountable for the people that he puts in your life. Okay? If you're a man and you have a wife, you have children, guess what? It's your job. As a matter of fact, we always pull this verse, but if you get 1 Timothy 5:8, and then we'll go back to Luke. If you're a man and the Most High blesses you with a house, blesses you with children, blesses you with a wife or wives, guess what? You're responsible for them. You have to love them, right? So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. So how's it going to look to the Most High if you're over here, and I know brothers that have done this or doing this right now, brothers that are out teaching the word consistently, but they don't even love their wives or their children or their household enough to teach them, right? Traveling all around everywhere, doing all this work of the Lord, but guess what? Nothing in their house. No living waters for their household. No bread of life to eat.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. But if any provide not for his own, and specially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith, and is worse than an infidel.
You're worse than an infidel. You've denied the faith, right? If you're not providing for your own house. Now, of course, like we've been saying the whole lesson, we always say physically and spiritually, right? If your children and your wife are thrown out on the street, you're not paying rent. Come on, man. The Most High knows you're not a man of him. If you're not feeding them physically, you're not a man of the Most High. But also spiritually, you're not making sure they're following the law, statutes, and commandments and precepts. You're letting your wife go and dress lascivious and do all manner of wickedness. Guess what? That falls back on your house. Proverbs 3:33. The curse of Yahweh is in the house of the wicked. Right? If he gives you anybody who is under you, because the man's the head of the house. And that's another thing. A lot of men in this truth will say, I'm the head, I'm the leader, I'm the this, I'm the that. But everyone who is under you falls back on you, right? If everybody at your bank was missing money from the cashier's out, who are they going to blame? Who are they going to go to?
Whoever's in management.
Exactly. So it's the same thing with us as a man. You have to understand, we just read Sirach 26:26. The woman that honors her husband is counted wise of all. That to me, being a man and being the head of a household, right? That seems a lot easier. It's like, man, the woman's got it a little bit easier than the man, right? And we're going to see exactly why in just a minute.
This is Luke chapter 12, verse 43. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
So In verse 42, it says being a ruler over his household, right? Which we're supposed to be. Then it says, blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. If you're not ruling over your household in righteousness and making your household be righteous, the Most High is not dealing with you, man. You could be teaching, you could be in the truth for 20, 30, 40 years. It doesn't matter. If what he gives you, you're not taking care of, why would you even expect any other types of blessings from it? It's like if I gave the brother Jomar, I don't know, let's say I give you a car, I'm rich and I give you a car, and then I see you next week and it's all scratched up and one of the windows is broken, or you go crash it, total it. Am I going to give you another one? Of course not. You're not even taking care of what I already blessed you with. That's the same thing that's the same sentiments that the Most High has. Man, there's people that are barren, can't have children. There's brothers walking around, they have no wife. I bless you with a wife or wives and a child or children, and you're not even taking care of them. But then you're gonna have the nerve to go ask me for some more blessings. Make me rich. Oh, give me another wife. You're not even taking care of the first one. You're not even teaching the first one. Right? And Salaki, I get a little fire in my belly when I talk about that because bro, you'd be so, I mean, it wouldn't surprise you, but the majority of people watching, it would surprise you to see some of the so-called men that do that, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. Luke 12:44. Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. And if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and maidens, and to eat and drink, and to be drunken.
So now if the Most High puts you a ruler over a household or over certain affairs, over certain people, it's not that you have to literally start beating them, which guess what? I've heard multiple sisters have reached out to me and said, look, I'm married, I'm in the truth. This happened. A so-called man that's in the truth has beat me, right? This does happen, but it's rare, right? But when you mistreat the people in your home, right? You take advantage of them, or you use them, you treat them like crap. You don't even teach them the word. You see them going through certain things, you don't care, right? You let them get beat down by the cares of life, by spirits, things like that. And you just keep eating and drinking, going about your life like if nothing's wrong, because you're good, right? And you're drunken. Now we know you could be drunken, like we said, drunken off of lust. You could be drunken off of false doctrine, right? You could be drinking the wine of Babylon, all these fake philosophies, right? But notice what it says. It says, if the servant says in my heart, my Lord delayeth his coming. There's a certain brother in the truth that I used to go out and teach with. This is the first brother that I was ever used to even help come into the truth, and I would teach with him. Now he got the attitude of, well, he let's just say he basically thought things were going to happen sooner, that we didn't have as much time as we have now. And this has happened to many brothers. Like, they're like, man, well, I thought Babylon was already going to be destroyed by now. I thought Yahushua was going to come back by now. Right? It says, my Lord delayeth his coming. So then they fall out the truth. Right? Go ahead.
The Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers.
So now this is talking about the people that know about the truth. They think they have time to get right. Or they think, well, it hasn't happened yet, right? And they just go back into the world. right? So what is going to happen to them? Jacob's trouble is going to come unaware. Yahushua is going to come when they're unaware, and they're going to be cut off, right? And they're going to appoint and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. Going back to the whole lukewarm in Revelation 3:15 and 16. Yahushua said, I know your works. You're neither hot nor cold, right? I would rather you be hot or cold. If you want to just be lukewarm, I'll wear fringes sometimes. I'll keep Sabbath sometimes, right? I'll follow these precepts, but not these precepts, right? They trim their way. As a matter of fact, if you get Jeremiah 2:33 out, they trim their way. That's what a lot of people do, right? They trim their way to serve Yahweh. They're trying to pick and choose. I'm going to keep these verses. Let me cut out that part. That's not going to work for me.
Salakia. Repeat the verse again.
Jeremiah 2:33.
2. Gotcha.
2:33. You go down on the comments. So the sister said, the hour no man knoweth. None of us know the hour, right? Or the day, but we do know through the prophecies that it's getting closer and closer and closer.
This is Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways.
So this is a common thing. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? I've seen brothers do this. I've seen sisters do this. They're coming into the truth, and then they trim the way of the word. They want to cut off certain pieces, right? So that they can find love, worldly love. They could get married to somebody. They won't be alone. They won't be lonely, right? I'm going to trim the verses that say, don't be hasty. I'm going to trim the verses that say the man has to provide. I'm going to trim the verses that say I have to be obedient. I'm going to trim the verses that say we're supposed to be heirs together, right, of one accord. Like it says in 1 Peter, the 3rd chapter. He's not really in the truth, but you know what? That's all right. I'm not even gonna try the spirit. I just feel in my emotions, and they trim the way to seek love. But also they just trim the way because they just don't want to follow it. It doesn't even have to be just for love, right?
Sometimes it's just for convenience.
Exactly. A lot of times it's just for convenience.
And will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers.
So you're going to be appointed the same portion with the unbelievers. You know you're an Israelite, but it doesn't matter. You're going to have the same portion of the unbelievers, which is what? To be destroyed.
47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
So the servant that knew the Lord's will, that knew what the Most High required of you, right? You know that you're supposed to follow the law, statutes, commandments, precepts to the best of your ability. You know you're supposed to keep the faith. You know you're supposed to be an obedient wife. You know you're supposed to provide for your family as a husband. If you know these things and you didn't prepare to get right, then what's going to happen? You're going to be beaten with many stripes. Let's say you go through Jacob's trouble and you stocked up a bunch of food. Now someone breaks in and steals all your food. Or rats get into your food and they eat some of it and they drop feces in the rest of it, right? So now you have no food. Then you go out to try and get some food and you trip and break your leg, right? And there's no doctors and now it's infected. And then someone breaks into your house and kills someone from your family. If you know and you don't do according to his will, you're going to be beaten with many stripes, many punishments, right?
But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more.
So now there's people that didn't really know exactly what they were supposed to do, right? Now in Matthew 24, it says that Yahushua is not going to come back till everybody's heard the real gospel, right? Which is why everybody's finding out who the Israelites are now, right? I think I mentioned it not too long ago. My rib's younger sister, who's I think 16, 17, she was like, man, I was on TikTok and I keep running across like the Israelites this and Mexicans and blacks and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, the word is spreading, right?
And the thing that when I came into this truth, right, um one of the things that made sense to me was the the road is broad that leads to destruction. And I was like, wait a second, how, what is this Christianity stuff?
Yep,
You know, like what, isn't that like one of the biggest religions?
yep, the biggest.
But that was just self-realization that the
Mhm.
actual road is narrow, even within, because knowing you're an Israelite isn't really mean, doesn't really, doesn't guarantee much. It's definitely a huge step in the right direction once you realize it. However, works without faith, you have to, that road is very, very narrow. This walk is not for the weak minded, you know. And I can personally attest to that mentally and spiritually, I've prepared my mind, to witness, like you were saying, what kind of wickedness am I gonna see today?
Con.
You know, it's mental fortitude that these scriptures give you. That's a lot of the wisdom, is mental and spiritual fortitude that we're not allotted through Christianity and prosperity gospel and
Mhm.
other stuff. And you don't have to be obedient. You don't have to keep these laws. You can eat pork all you want. You can break Sabbath. You know, that road is broad and leads to distraction. So it was one of the biggest things, that I come to find out as soon as I came into the truth.
Con. And another, and to go along perfectly with this verse, right? It says, he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes. So you didn't really know. Yeah, you knew, okay, well, the Israelites are this, or I'm an Israelite, whatever. But no one really broke down to you, okay, these are a bunch of the laws. These are the fruits of the Spirit. These are the things that you have to do to prepare, right? Specifically. And you went against these things, but you didn't really know, right? The Most High is a just God. So you did things that are worthy of punishments, but you're going to be punished less because you didn't really know. You were still ignorant in a sense, right? For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required. So now you, brother Jomar, me, and most of the people that are probably watching or see this, you have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You have to prepare and keep oil again in your lamp. You have to prepare spiritually first and foremost, but also physically is a prudent thing to do. So if you're not prepared, then guess what? You are required more. And like going back to the whole bank thing, right? Or like I've said before, at Walmart, if Jomar is the manager of Walmart and I'm an employee, right? And the store keeps losing money and losing merchandise, they're not coming to me. I'm gonna be like, Jomar's over there, right? Because to whom much is given, much is required. Whom men have committed much of them, they're gonna ask more. So it's the same with the Most High. The Most High opened up your understanding. He allowed you to know you're an Israelite. He allowed you to know you have to follow Yahweh's example, which what was he doing? He was following the word again, right? There's been much more committed to you for that. Now you got to follow it, or else guess what's going to happen? You're going to be beaten with many, many stripes. It's not going to be like, okay, like my daughter was saying when we went over these scriptures. My second oldest, who's she's 11, and she was saying, yeah, like imagine if somebody, they kind of knew the truth, but they weren't following it, and maybe they're in Jacob's trouble and they get shot in the head or something, they just die and they don't feel no pain. Then imagine you have somebody else who knew the truth and they starved to death because they weren't following it. Or they watch their children starve to death and then they starve to death. Right? Or you drown, or you get burned alive, or you get tortured, or you get put into slavery, sex slavery. There's many, many things that are going to be horrible things that are already happening now. But imagine how much worse in Jacob's trouble. Right? I always think of when I talk about Jacob's trouble, I always think about, I think I had mentioned to you out, or I said it on one of the lives, how they caught this Edomite dude who was paying people to look at chicks' Snapchats, or he would look at them, and if he liked them, you know, it has a location on it. So he would pay dudes to go and kidnap the females and bring them to him, and then he was putting them into sex slavery. So now if that is happening right now, right? Imagine the crazy, abominable things that are going to be happening in Jacob's trouble. Right? And if you know, like it says here, you want to read it one more time out?
And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
If you know the Most High's will, right? You're not doing according to his will. You're not preparing yourself and getting ready and getting right. Then guess what? All of these things that we're talking about, that's what could happen to you. And Most High willing, that doesn't have to happen to you, but it could very well happen to you, right? Because it's in the scriptures, man. Let me see. There was one more verse I wanted to get. Could you get Isaiah 66 and 4?
66 and 4. I was gonna say that's like the parable, as I get it, the parable of the talents. You know, the Most High gave our Salakia, those that were given the talents and multiplied them and gave gave back the interest. You know, more was given to them. You know, and that those that little was given to them, even though they protected that one talent, it was taken away and some.
You gotta multiply and use what the Most High has given you, right? It's like again, going back to my household, 6 people. Guess what? Everybody has to pray. Guess what? Everybody has to, of course, my 2 youngest, Keziah is 2 years old, Noah's 4 years old. So I don't make them study with us, but the majority of the time, Noah's, okay, let me get a Bible. We have a bunch of extra Bibles. I've collected Bibles from all different years. So he goes and grabs one, and he can't read yet, but he'll be there with his Bible open to the right page. You know what I mean? So going back to the whole talent thing, if Yahweh gave me these talents, right, what am I going to do with them? I'm just going to hold on to them, just have them in my house. They're not going to do nothing. Or they're going to be praying and keeping the faith and building their faith and studying as well and learning, right? That's how I'm adding to them, using them as an example, right? Let me just read this one more time, and then I'll go back to that. So it says, for whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required. So again, men that have a wife or a child or wives or children, the more you've been given, the more is required of you. Right? I said it in a video a few days ago. Everybody's asking and praying for a wife or for children or for a big household or whatever, but you got to understand that a big responsibility comes with that. And if you're not holding up your part of the bargain as a man, then guess what? You are not doing according to the Most High's will. Right? And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. The Most High's will for the man is to teach his household. It's to keep his household in order. So if you're not doing that, not only could you bring bad things to you, stripes and punishments to you, but also to your household.
This is Isaiah chapter 66, verse 4. I also will choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before mine eyes and chose that in which I delighted not.
So this was one of the verses that really, this and Hosea 4 and 6 is one of the verses that really got to me in my rib and got us like wanting to really come into the truth, right? In Jude 1, 22 and 23, it says basically there's two ways that you can help to save someone, right? It says of some have compassion, making a difference, and of some save with fear, right? Pulling them out of the fire. So some people got to be scared into it. Some people need those comforting verses like 1 Corinthians 2 and 9, right? It just depends on the person. But if this doesn't put the fear of the Most High in you, I don't know what will. I also will choose their delusions and bring their fears upon them. Because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. And they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. So think about it right now, right? So the title of the lesson is Being a Wise Steward and Wife, right? Wife meaning a member of the church, Yahushua being the bridegroom. How much oil's in your lamp, right? Let me show you the lamp one more time. It's an actual oil lamp, right? How much oil's in your lamp? This one's like halfway full. I need to fill it up, right? It's better to be filled in the spiritual though. So how much oil is in your lamp? Because if it's not full, if you don't got no oil in your lamp, this could happen to you. Not only to you, to your household. What is your fear? What is your biggest fear? Whatever it is, keep in mind that the Most High said he will bring your fears upon you. In Jacob's trouble, right? Watch the Book of Eli. Watch one of those Purge movies if you haven't seen them. If you can handle it, right? Just to see some of the things that are gonna happen. Because remember, art imitates life. Especially Book of Eli. That's a total Jacob and Esau movie. Right? So see that and see and think about what are your biggest fears. Do you want the Most High to bring those fears upon you? Or do you want to start preparing, right? And filling up your lamp with oil. As a matter of fact, we'll finish in Revelation 3 and 3. Revelation 3 and 3. So if anyone has a question, just ask in the next minute or two. If not, we're going to go ahead and finish with this.
Pop up. There we go.
There you go.
This is Revelation chapter 3, verse 3. Remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee.
So again, Like how I said in Matthew 25, at the end he said, watch, right? We have to always be watching. Remember, therefore, how thou hast received. Remember the things you've received. Think about that for a second. The Most High allowed you to receive this truth to an extent, right? Every man has their own lot of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But he has obviously given you some type of wisdom if you're even on here, if you're even watching this video, because you wouldn't be watching it if you weren't in some way, shape, or form haven't received and heard something about the truth. So it says, hold fast and repent. Hold on tight to what you have, right? The knowledge that you have. And repent. Start following the word. Because for the most part, there's a lot of people know there's certain things that they need to correct, right? If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come, right? We're actually finished with this one. Or Salakia Ivan. Hey, I'll keep an eye out for a message from me on IG. I have a couple things I want to talk about. My profile name is Yuri Ya. Okay, Khan. I'll get to him tomorrow though, because I'm probably after this I'm probably gonna crash out, but I'll definitely get back to you tomorrow. Let's go ahead and finish with this one now.
This is Romans 13 and 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed.
So right now, whether you're watching the video live or you see it later, right now, guaranteed, 100%, it is guaranteed that right now, salvation is nearer than when we first heard the word. When we first started believing, it's closer. And now as I'm speaking again, guess what? It's closer. And then the people that are going to watch this video tomorrow, guess what? It's closer. So it's high time to awake out of sleep. Right now is the time to repent. Right now is the time to prepare, to get oil in your lamp, to get your houses in order. Right? Like it says in 2nd Ezra 14, it says, get your houses in order. Because let me tell you, man, one single person, like living by yourself, you're only really worrying about your own salvation. If you're a family man, a family woman, whatever, what you do is going to rub off on the other people in your house. Right? So now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. Be a wise steward or a wise servant. Do the will of the Most High, right? Strive to be the wise women, the wise virgins, right? And have oil in your lamp. You want to add anything to that, Art?
I've just noticed that, as of late, just from the people that follow me on Instagram and people that are close to me, the scripture, and I forget how it goes. The Lord is going to pour out His Spirit upon all men, upon all flesh. I see that manifesting in a lot of different ways. I see people that I didn't picture really coming into this truth, buying Bibles, posting scripture, the spirit of getting baptized, and I can personally relate to that feeling, because when the Most High calls you, you're gonna move, you're gonna do those things. That's like when Most High drew me to that live that you guys did on baptism. Man, I was like, all right, yeah, it's time. It's my calling. I'm gonna do it. Let's figure it out. Let's see how we do this. And I see that right now being manifest. So, yeah, keep that oil in that lamp. Stay in the scriptures. Joshua 1:8. Meditate in the scriptures day and night as best as you possibly can. I know people have jobs. We have responsibilities, but to the best of your ability, get creative with the ways you keep the word. If you have a partner, if you have a wife, if you have family, send text messages with scripture, things of that nature, cards, flashcards. Just always be meditating. Challenge people who don't necessarily follow scriptures to start keeping the Sabbath, and let them know, like, to notice the blessings that come with keeping Sabbath, not just Sabbath, but following the laws. But once you start, when I first started keeping Sabbath, when I first stopped eating pork, when I first changed my life up entirely, I saw the blessings and I felt the protection of the Most High. Especially in times like this, you need that mental and spiritual fortitude.
Con, it's a beautiful testimony, and I can attest to the same thing. It's like Hebrews 11:6, how it says, without faith it's impossible to please him. You have to believe that he exists, and that he's a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. The more you start following these laws, you may see it as a small thing. Oh, well, it's just like stop eating pork. And then the Most High starts blessing you and working with you more and opens up your understanding more. And then you keep the Sabbath, and then you get, in some way, shape, or form, in another way, you see more blessings. And you're just like, man, it's crazy how your journey and your path really starts building up. Right?
Definitely.
So yeah, but like the brother said as well, that's another thing that I've heard from a lot of people, is that they get bored with studying, or they get burned out on studying, stuff like that. The reason why is because you're doing the same thing over and over and over. Right? It's like in again, going back to MMA. If you, let's say, every day you start bench press, you're gonna end up plateauing. It's called the plateau effect. You're not getting any benefit out of it, right? And then you're not gonna really want to do it because you don't see no progress. It's the same thing with the scriptures. You don't just, maybe you can read a chapter and then precept it, right? Precept the whole chapter. Then the next day, read a whole bunch of flashcards. Then the next day, read something and look into the history of all of it, right? Or look into the Hebrew of all of it. Okay, this word in Hebrew is this. Go to the next one. Okay, this word it means this, right? You got to switch it up. And then one day do a category. Okay, I'm going to go over the love of the Most High, right? Just go to cross-reference or search heart or love KJV. It's going to give you a bunch of verses. Some of them aren't going to go with what you're looking for. Pick out the ones, make a list of them, right? Switch it up, like the brother said.
And there's a lot of tools, not to cut you off. I know there's another comment, man, but the brother did a live about the resources he uses to actually cross-reference and look up the the Blue Letter Bible's a good tool as well. Just to Bible Hub's another good one. You could go verse by verse, and it'll cross-reference other verses that match to that. But it's kind of, sometimes you see people and you don't see that same yearning, and it's upsetting because you want everybody's light to be on. You want everybody to have oil. You don't. I personally don't want to say I told you so ever. We know that that's going to be the case. We're not going to say I told you so, but it's just, that's just going to be the case. That's just, not saying that I know what's going to happen, but for the most part, by and large, there's going to be people who are going to be prepared, and there's going to be people who aren't going to be spiritually prepared. And it's just going to be understood that you're not going to have to say I told you so. It's just going to be known. So try to not be that group of people that that door shuts on them.
And with that, the brother is gone. I'm sure he'll be right back though. But Khan, like he was saying, I mean, me and my rib have had that conversation. Okay, he's back. 1 second. Hey, at least to let you finish, Ark.
Man, Hashatan really wants me off this live, Ark.
Khan. But no, that was perfect what you said, because I don't know how many times I've said it, bro. I don't know how many times I told my rib, like, man, again, like, you're in that moment when you can say I told you so, but you don't want to say I told you so.
Con.
There's a brother who used to be in the truth with me just before this live, just found out too. There's a brother that used to be in the truth with me, bro, that went to teach with me. Him and his wife fell into the world, and I'm talking about doing some wickedness. Them two and one of their children just got COVID today, right? And not too long ago, we had heard something that they were doing that me and my rib were like, man, I cannot believe that they're doing that. That's after the scriptures, being wicked, doing some abominations. Let's say that. And then today, when we found out, I was like, that's exactly what I told my rib. Like, I don't want to say it, but it's one of those I told you so moments. You don't want to be in one of those I told you so moments, right? We don't want to be in one of those where we're thinking it like, man, I knew it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I don't know how many times that's happened with brothers I know, with sisters I know, where stuff happens. We tell them, look, you need to be set apart. You're gonna fall back into the world, fall back into it. Look, you need to get out of this situation. You need to stop doing it. And exactly what we say is gonna happen. And it's not because we know, it's because the scriptures say it. Right? So Ferris said Ezekiel 3:17 and 19. I'm gonna read it real quick. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning for me. Right? There's many watchmen right now that are watching the signs of the times. And notice it says, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. When somebody warns you with the word from the Most High's mouth, right? We just read earlier, 2 Timothy 3:16. The Most High gave this word, right? Psalm 68:11. The Lord gave the word. If somebody is trying to correct you, you need to understand that that is actually love. Contrary to what we've been taught, when somebody corrects you with the Bible, it's because they care about your soul, right? And then it goes on to say, we have to warn the wicked or blood will be on our hands, right? So that's why people you could take it as hatred, you could take it as somebody being mean, but in the end, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to clean the blood off of our hands. We're trying to warn you so that the blood's not on our hands. Because the Most High allowed us to learn it for a reason. So that we could give a warning from me being Yahweh. He didn't just, okay, Jomar, this is for you. Now keep it to yourself. This is for you. This is for me. It's all for me. No, right? What do Yahweh say? He said, nobody has a lamp and puts it under their bed. What would be the point of that? Right? You have to let your light shine, which is the word. We got to spread it to the best of our ability. Shakir Abdullah, this lesson has given me chills. So many of these verses has convicted me. I have been falling weak in my walk. How can I get back in good grace with the Father? So first and foremost, I'll praise the Most High.
Praises.
Right? Man's goings or woman's goings are of the Most High. Proverbs 20:24. You've definitely seen it for a reason. The way to get back in good graces with the Most High is to repent. Right? If they're convicting you, it's because the shoe fits. Right? Nobody ever got offended by something that didn't apply to them. If I start telling the brother Jomar, yeah, man, I hate people that are slothful and play video games all day. He's not going to be offended if that's not him, right? So it's the same thing with this. The reason why you're feeling convicted is because you know that there's things that you're not doing. If you want to get back in good graces with the Most High, what you need to do is apply everything that you know, right? Pray to the Most High, ask for forgiveness. If you haven't been baptized, get baptized. You can reach out to me or to the brother Jomar or to the brother do you know Azariah's name on Instagram, Mark?
Azariah disciple or disciple Azariah.
Okay, Khan.
Let me check.
Yeah, if you could check real quick. Either reach out to me, the brother Jomar, or the brother Azariah, and we can help you get baptized if you haven't. Right? Ivan Khan. So yeah, all praise to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. So yeah, I'm gonna read this last verse, or if you want to read it out, and then we'll end it.
This is Revelation 1:3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand.
The time is at hand, right? Jacob's trouble. If you don't know about Jacob's trouble, I think I did at least 2, maybe 3 videos on it. We are coming into the time of Jacob's trouble. There's other countries that I believe wholeheartedly are already in Jacob's trouble.
Come.
Right? The time is at hand. We don't have time to be messing around. We don't have time to be lukewarm. We don't have time to be letting our lamps get low on oil. We don't have time to be around worldly people, worldly things, right? What we need to do is this right here. And this goes along with the sister, what she asked as well, how about getting back into the good grace with the Father. You need to read, right? Blessed is he that read, and they that hear the words, right? If you can't read, I'm pretty sure most people can read on here. If you can't read, you don't know how to read, guess what? There's thousands and thousands of videos you can watch where they'll read you the Bible. There's videos like this where you can do, there's live videos we've done. There's probably, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 we've done so far that are normally, they're like this. What? We're already 2.5 hours in. That's enough for a whole day, if you ask me. If you're taking notes and then you're going to apply what you learn. Right? Because that's another thing. Sisters will reach out to me and say, well, I don't understand, or I can't really break it down, and this, that, and the other, which I've said many times before. That's why, in reality, you should be looking for a righteous head. Because that's what the man is for. Like we read in Ephesians 5, the man is supposed to be watering their household, their woman, with the word. Right? But guess what? We have internet. You can get watered with the word through the internet. But again, Amos 8:11, guess what? Famine of the word's coming soon. So right now at this time is where you fill up your lamp, where you get prepared. Read, hear the words of the prophecy, and like I said earlier, the whole Bible comes down to this. And keep those things which are written therein. You have to do what the Bible says. Right? It's like that brother following Yeshua said. In the end, it's going to come down to 2 people. The people that did the Bible and the people that either didn't do it or they didn't really know it. You want to be in that one small portion of people that did the word, that are doers of the word. And that's why the word says, doers of the word will be justified, not hearers. Right? It's not enough to read it. It's not enough to hear it. It's not enough to watch 1,000 camp videos. You got to do what the word says to do, for the time is at hand. Right? So you want to add anything to that out?
No, you covered that pretty well. All praises to the Most High.
Khan. So all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the water again, for your help as always.
Khan, always.
So I'll hit you up tomorrow about that music.
Khan, most definitely. Yeah, take your time with it.
All right. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah to all you brothers and sisters that are striving to follow the word in truth and in sincerity. Like it says here, the time is at hand. Now is the time to get oil. Now is the time to get your house in order. Now is the time to follow the word, to read, to hear the word. And now is the time to get covered by the Most High. You're not going to be able to beg for protection when things are going down. And for your sisters, now is the time to get covered by a man of the Most High. Right? So all of you strive to stay in the spirit. And Most High willing, will be on here most likely on Tuesday.
Come, all praises.
All praise. Shalom.